So, and the pricing they're seeing is somewhere in the mid 5.5s. Right now I'm paying, I think, 5.9 where I'm at, so somewhere in the 5.5s is a pretty good price. And this is on the electric supply, which is about 30% of your bill.
I came to the meeting the other day, or one of the meetings, for a brief amount of time, and I think didn't they say, and you gentlemen were both there, that right now it was like a 17%, if that day we locked in compared to what Clearcreek Township was before, it was like 17% or something like that, was it?
I think the rate to compare, so you'll hear them say rate to what you compare to, that's the regulated price. It's, I think, like 6.3.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty low rate from what it's been historically. But yeah,
It was substantial.
they've got some good rates right now.
My electric bill was over $500. I said, I don't have gas, over $500 last month, so I was figuring that up pretty quick in my head.
So I'm just doing right now. I'm trying to figure out how much it'll save me.
Savings for me.
Yeah, I don't suggest you use a lot of electric just to save more, but if you do use a lot of electric, it can add up pretty good.
No, I think it's a good thing that we're doing here. Okay.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, if it's 5%, I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions for staff about 4798? Anybody have any questions about 4798? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve or deny 4798?
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve 4798. Roll call.
Mr. Mooseball. Yay. Mr. Gabbard.
Yay?
Mr. Wade.
Yay. Okay, anything else under administration at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, and under the police district, we have resolution 4799, resolution to accept a donation.
In the last week, I opened up a few checks, and I was unsure what we were getting checks for, and had to do a little homework. In reference to 4799, there was a lady named Linda Kramer that apparently passed away. Linda was apparently a dispatcher here many years ago when the police department had their own dispatch.
She was our head dispatcher.
Okay, and she was here maybe 14 years or so. I had some EMS time, I think, for about 28 years, it said. And unfortunately, Ms. Kramer passed, and her obituary, they requested that donations be made to the township in lieu of flowers. So the 4799 is Mr. and Mrs. Ray. They donated $50 to the police department. I would ask the board to accept that in the memory of Linda Kramer.
Is there a motion to approve 4799?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay?
Mr. Mooseball.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. I would tell you, besides, she was kind of Linda was kind of a fixture in the township, and her mom and dad both were a fixture here in Clearcreek. In Springboro, they both, he was the head of maintenance and janitorial at the school system.
Okay.
And her mother ran the food service for the school.
I had not heard that she passed.
Yeah. So they were certainly well entrenched in and really nice people. Okay. Resolution 4800, a resolution accepting a donation from the Kincaids.
Officer Roach was here earlier. I wish he'd have remained. I want to brag on him a little bit. The Kincaids are an elderly couple who live on Grandview, and their basement flooded. And the pipe going into the sump pump flooded out, so Officer Roach waded into the water and unplugged it for them, and then siphoned out their water out of their basement and helped them out. He had a little bit slower night, he had some time on his hands. So he helped them clean their basement out. They were kind of helpless on who could help them do it. And as he left, they wrote him a $40 check, and the sergeant went down and explained, we can't take checks for that. We're just happy to help you. And they said, then donate it to the police department to do as they wish. We still want to write the check. So they donated $40 to the police department. I would ask the board to accept that gift from them.
That's very nice. Is there a motion to approve 4,800?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Mooseball.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. And we have 4801, a resolution accepting a donation from the Crouch family.
Mr. and Mrs. Crouch donated $25 in remembrance of Ms. Kramer, and I ask the board to accept that in our memory also.
Is there a motion to approve 4801?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Mooseball.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. And we have a purchase recommendation for renewal fee, an annual fee for the United Valley Crime Lab.
Crime Lab is pretty much the only game in town. I think the fee rose by maybe 2% from last year. $6,985 is the 2016 annual fee for them. They do all of our lab work on any drug cases, any burglary cases, DNA cases, so forth. We also run our fingerprinting system through them. So I'd ask the board to renew that contract with Underground Crime Lab for $69.85, again for the 2016 year.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this expenditure?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mooseball.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. And we have the monthly report sheet.
You got any questions?
You guys are busy.
Fortunately, work is up, I guess, but we had an issue with the brand new UDF last night. We already had our first arrest there, and it's not opened. We had a gentleman that was at a Super Bowl party, threatened his girlfriend in Mason with a gun, took off from there, ended up at UDF, passed out in the car with his gun, and our two officers had to fight him last night in the parking lot, and get him arrested, so a little bit of excitement last night, but some of it's still within reason, so a little busy. Any other questions?
Can I ask for a clarification? If he was passed out, what was the fight about?
Us waking him up.
Oh, okay.
So he could be
He
arrested.
wasn't happy that he
He wasn't happy.
wasn't.
We woke up and arrested for OBI.
Wow, okay. Robot car, yeah.
Wasn't that dangerous. We saved that for the big ones.
The,
So it is an OVI even though he's asleep in the car?
You have control of the vehicle, so in this case, keys and ignition, car was running.
Oh, well,
And he
then
was
there's
behind
that.
the wheel, so if you can reach control of that vehicle, yes. If you got key in your possession, you're behind the wheel, you're OBI.
Okay. Learn something every day.
yeah, okay. Anything else? Anybody have any questions of the monthly report? Okay. Moving on to the fire district, we have a probationary appointment offer for Annette Davis as full-time clerk. Excellent.
Finally completed a process, and we found a candidate that seemed to fit well for us.
Excellent. Good for you. Is there a motion to, I guess this is an offer to hire?
It'd be a conditional offer. She still has to complete a drug test and a physical. Physical's not pass or fail, it's just documentation purposes, and then she would start after that.
Okay.
It's kind of all about the drug screening
Correct.
that she's done and good for background.
So a motion to have a probationary offer to hire to Annette Davis.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Mooseball.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yeah. And we have a step increase for Jacob Group. Completed, it's just based on time, I'm sure.
Time. Every year with a satisfactory evaluation, they're eligible for a step increase.
Okay. Move Jacob from step one to step two. Is there a motion to approve that? So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mooseball.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yeah. And we have a resignation for Alexander Braun.
For personal reasons.
Personal,
Leave it
okay.
at that.
Is there a motion to accept the resignation for Mr. Braun?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Mooseball. Mr. Wade, sorry, sir.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, we have a grant application recommendation for the Ohio Department of Public Safety Division of EMS.
This is an annual grant we apply for. It comes from seatbelt funds. We receive $2,500 to $3,500 most years, and it's a non-matching grant. So it allows us to continue operations. It doesn't add anything. it's things we would purchase anyway.
Okay. Is there a motion to direct the chief to apply for this grant?
So moved.
Second.
And we have the annual report.
Yeah, you want me to send it
Oh,
all?
so, I'm sorry.
Roll call, sorry.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yeah.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't jump in that time, so I heard off. I apologize.
And then we have your annual report.
I'll point out a few things. We actually ended up 20 calls less this year than the previous. We were well over 100 ahead coming into December, and
Good weather.
everybody
Absolutely.
stayed healthy, and not
Yeah.
many people got that hurt.
Yeah.
They're sick, which is a good thing.
Didn't get started sick, and the roads weren't that bad.
Other big things we had within the year, we had the Jack Martin Court, I'll call it an event, because we had the fire that led to the Superfund cleanup site. We managed that for over 2 months. It took a lot of staff time and efforts to manage that.
That was an event.
Yeah, to say the least. And we were able to work with the Warren County Pipeline Coalition. Through that, we were able to pre-plan for events that may take part down there. One of the nicest parts, they stepped up to the plate to help us with the costs. They paid for our manpower to participate in the exercises and really helped us push our working relationship with them and coordinate with all the area agencies that would respond in to help us
Good.
in the event something were to occur. Our CPR program is getting a little more traction, if you will. We serviced over 100 people from within our community in CPR this year. We're going to continue to grow that. It's in its infancy. We're still trying to manage time and people to make that happen. And then we took on a couple of cost-saving measures this year. One of the biggest was our LED program. We started transitioning all of our lights as they went out of service. We put new fixtures in. That program is about $3,500 in cost that we put out. We've already saved over $11,000 at Station 21,
Really?
the South Main. Really, till you looked at all the bills and saw the savings, it was quite amazing how much savings there was.
It really is.
That's impressive. And you can still see. That's all. That's not good.
And we hope to expand that further into the other stations as the years progress. Our rescue truck went in service this last year. That allowed us to take 2 vehicles out of our fleet that were part of our capital plan to replace. Now we maintain 1 vehicle instead of 2, reducing our fleet size and our daily maintenance cost.
Very good.
I'll answer any other questions you might have in the report.
Don't we have a new ambulance coming soon?
They actually called and they moved up. It wasn't supposed to be an additional 2 months. It'll actually be ready on Monday. We'll be down the week after to inspect it at the factory so they can address any issues down there.
Good deal.
To your point on CPR, I'm glad you brought that up as part of your report. I had a conversation with Matt Lewis, the athletic director at Springboro. You may or may not know, every coach in the Springboro school system is required to take CPR. The only thing they offer at the schools is a 1-year certification through the trainers. He was very excited to hear that we did a monthly class, and it was a 2-year certification. So you may want to have Captain Lampman or someone reach out to him, because being one of those people that has to take it, I can tell you that it's trying to get all the coaches in one place at one time is almost impossible. So I think that would help us right out of the gate. They've got 70-some coaches that have to do that, so he was ecstatic, in fact. So
So, do you have, are they scheduled on a set night, and how long does it?
second Saturday every month.
Second Saturday?
Second Saturday every month. We used to have an online sign-up form, but that didn't work out real well, so we just have people call in
And
now.
it's $5 or $10.
Actually, if you're a resident of Springboro or Clearcreek Township, there's no cost for you. It's only for persons that reside outside of the township of the city.
Is this the 1 day?
It's a 4-hour class. We get you a 2-year American Heart Association Heart Saver CPR card.
Okay. Bob, do you have anything else?
No, sir.
Do I have any questions? Okay, we have the zoning department, request for services from Warren County Regional Planning Commission.
Yes, sir. Spoke with regional planning back in November. They're looking for ways in which they could help us out from the northern part of the county, Slant and Smork. And part of the discussion we've had historically is how can we figure out what's going on in Red Line and make that into an update in our comp plan. Had the discussion with them. They had a discussion with Franklin Township, who also has desire to do some things within Hunter. Decided it was probably a good thing to do a joint venture and look at the area as a region.
Yeah.
So they're requesting, if this is something that you as a body desire to do, to ask them to do the work. It would then be a year-long process. They'll be looking for individuals to serve on their, in essence, their committee, and then continue on through that. So I can answer, that was a broad stroke, I can answer questions that you have.
Basically, it's to do some, a little more in-depth planning for the greater Red Line area.
Correct, we're trying to figure out, since 2005, what can work there, what cannot work there, and needs more love. This is one way to get more attention to that area and figure out what we can actually attract and how we can do things with some better standards, once we figure out what is appropriate for the area.
Certainly makes sense to me. Okay, so, would you like to have a motion first?
Yep, I got a motion, and then just have you,
Direct Jeff and his staff to work with the Warren County Regional Planning Commission for some additional planning, comprehensive planning in Red Line.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Mitterspaw.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
And side note, I'd be interested in being part of that.
Fantastic.
And we also have your monthly report.
Yeah, as you can see, we're very close to where we were last year for the first month, but we have some replats that have come through, which is always exciting to see people consolidating and trying to figure out what they can do with some more. So I can answer questions if you have.
Anybody have any questions with Jeff's monthly report? Thank you very much. Anything else?
Not this time, sir.
Okay. Road Department?
I had nothing for the agenda, but we did get the new backhoe last week. Yeah, it was everything we hoped it would be and then some. And on a quick note, with the winter weather, we've only had 4 events that we've had to come in for. Tonight's another story, and the next couple of days we'll see how it goes. It looks like it's touch and go, but road temperature right now is 39 degrees, so in the next few hours nothing's going to stick anyway. So we're good for a while.
Good for you. Okay. Any questions for the Road Department? Okay. We do have an item we talked about when Mrs. Oda was here, Resolution 4802, which is a resolution requesting the county auditor to make tax advantages during the calendar year of 2016. We do this every year. We pass a resolution to get the money before our settlement, make the draw before he's ready to give us our settlement. So, is there any questions about 4802? So motion to approve 4802? So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mitterspaw.
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard.
Yay.
Mr. Wade.
Yay. Okay. Any staff comments? Any updates? Anybody need anything else?
I have a couple things.
Okay.
On the regional planning, they're looking for the confirmation of the representatives. I know Jeff, myself, and Mr. Munisipal are currently the 3. So if everybody's good with that, or,
Yeah.
okay,
My rep.
then we'll leave that the same. I got that letter today.
Got the engineers event coming up?
Yeah, so I heard from everybody. Steve, are you planning on attending? Okay, so I'll send that in for you. Couple notes. We're gonna go, the chiefs and myself, we're gonna go to the Optimist Club meeting Thursday morning. They asked to have myself come and offer them some insights on the township and any projects they could potentially help with. They're very geared towards children, so it'll probably be, volunteering at the Safety Town or National Night Out. That seems to be where we have volunteer needs for that type of thing. That's kind of an FYI. We've gonna have employee meetings on the insurance, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I call it lunch and learn, although it's at 2 o'clock and there's no lunch.
So technically, it's not a lunch and learn.
Well,
It's just a learn.
It's a informational session. Haran will help lead it, and what kind of sparked me to move forward. The first, second, and third, so it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2 o'clock. It seems to be a good time to hit some shift changes.
I need to come to one of those.
Well, Sam's called because somebody's wife works there and they mentioned it. They do some things with prescriptions that I think people could learn, oh, okay, I can do that, because you can get prescriptions at Sam's and Costco without being a member. And then if you're a member of Sam's, there's some more discounts. So I said, if you bring some snacks, you're welcome to come and talk about what you do. And that's always a good thing to learn about with the high deductible plan. So anyway, that's FYI. Following up on the fireworks discussion with Borough Fest, I talked to Chris Thompson some more about what the plans are. They've basically committed to the school or the committee putting it together that they would do the fireworks and would talk to us about would we partner with them on the fireworks. And they're asking for contribution of $10,000, which is going to basically split the cost of the fireworks.
Okay.
So it's a 20-minute show. We'd be credited with, partnering with them on that. I don't know what more. July 2nd's the event. It's basically, do you feel like you want to partner with that and on that event, get the recognition for that and help bring that event to fruition, basically?
As I mentioned before, when we talked about this, I'm in favor of it. And, we do have residents of Springboro that support our levy. So, for that reason, and as cooperation with the city, they've left us known for a long time now. And, anyway, that's my opinion.
I think it's
That's a fair, we used to, as Jeff remembers, he's probably the only one who's been around here that remembers, we used to battle with the city on a daily and weekly basis over many things, and that's not the case anymore. So after the cooperation, I don't mind spending that money and supporting that event.
I think it's a good thing to be a part of. I think this takes me back to a different time when we had a community festival that everyone in our community can embrace. And for us to be able to be a part of it, I think is an important piece to what we do for the community.
Steve, I know you weren't fighting. You have a different opinion. I'd rather not, but we're a board, then we can vote and absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we do. Okay, would you like to make a motion to put that on the floor, Mr. Captain?
I would make a motion that we contribute $10,000 towards the Borough Fest fireworks in cooperation with the city of Springboro.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second it. Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Nay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Very good. Okay, Jack? You're on a roll. What else would you like?
Dang, I should have made some more notes. That's all the things I had for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else to bring up this evening? If not, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Wade?
Yay.